Before Cardi B would make history being the first female rapper to win Best Rap Album as a solo artist. Before Cardi B would partner up with Fashion Nova, giving her the Cardi B collection. Before Cardi B would marry Offset of the Migos and give birth to their daughter Culture. Before Cardi B would make everyone fall in love with her and her language, including her use of okrrr, which would be used in a Super Bowl commercial, and she would eventually trademark.
Lots of Pepsi. There you go. Like Lil Jon.
Cardi B has quickly risen to the top of the rap game, breaking streaming records, winning tons of awards, being featured on Time Magazine's annual 100 Most Influential People in the World back in 2018, and becoming the second female rapper to top the Billboard charts with a solo song since Lauryn Hill in 1998. Cardi B has also been involved in a fair share of drama, including her run-ins with Nicki Minaj, but this hasn't stopped Barty, another name used for Cardi B, to continue dominating the music and rap industry. We're gonna tell you guys all about that and her rise to fame here for you on Before They Were Famous. Now, to be fair, this is an updated version, so you guys may already know some of the information that we're going to tell you guys, such as what her parents did for a living or how she got her name Cardi B, because history usually doesn't change. That's why it's in the past. But a lot's changed since our previous upload, so we wanted to keep you guys up to date on Cardi's life, and we're going to. Here for you on Before They Were Famous. What's going on, guys? My name is Jared Bronstein. Welcome back to Before They Were Famous. In our last few videos, we talked about some of the recent NBA draftees. Is that a word? We've also covered tons of rappers, so keep sending your requests in the comments right down below. For today's trivia question, I want to know who Cardi B received her first endorsement from. You guys gotta let me know in the comments right down below, and stick around to the very end of the video to find out. But for now, let's get on with it.
Hey, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Boom!
Cardi B was born Bacalus Marlenis Almanzar, as you can see I had trouble saying that, on October 11th, 1992 in the Bronx, New York. Now I know I almost definitely said her name wrong, as I've apparently gotten a reputation of doing so since starting on this channel, so I'm going to refer to her as everything but her real name moving forward. Cool. Cardi's father is from the Dominican and would support Cardi and the family driving a taxi, while her mother, who is Trinidadian, worked as a cashier. Cardi also has a younger sister, Hennessy Carolina Almanzar, born in 1995, who would inspire Cardi's rap name. Growing up, people would call Cardi Bacardi because of her sister Hennessy. Cardi would roll with it, even making her Instagram handle Cardi B, but after her account would keep getting suspended, she decided to eventually shorten her name to Cardi B, as we know her. According to the rap goddess herself, the B stands for whatever, depending on the day, beautiful or bully. Cardi, if you're watching this, I think you're the best, so please don't bully me. She was on Jimmy Fallon explaining the situation, as you can see right here.
For some reason, my Instagram keep getting deleted, and I think it was Bacardi that had something to do with it. So I just shortened it to Cardi B.
Cardi would spend much of her time with paternal grandmother in Washington Heights, which is who she also credits for her thick accent. But she also blames her tongue for the way she speaks.
I think I talk so funny because I have a big ass tongue. I think like my tongue is bigger than my mouth. Like I don't think it fit in my mouth because sometimes it just roll out the carpet.
And when she's not blaming her tongue, well, she claims it's a mix of her parents' accents and where she grew up.
I was raised in the hood, so I speak really slang with my parents' accent.
Regardless, everyone's grown to fall in love with Cardi B and the way she speaks. This includes her famous which we're going to get into a little bit later on in this video. But getting back to her youth, Cardi remembers her school days as a pretty negative experience. Aside from the fights she used to get herself into, she seemed to be a bit of a class clown, or as she put it, just disruptive in general.
I used to be like the Junie B from like school. Like nobody used to like her. She was always interruptive, always used to get in trouble, and I didn't understand why.
But Cardi would still attend Renaissance High School for Musical Theater and Technology in the Bronx, although she wouldn't attend class too often. Growing up, she claims her parents were pretty strict with her, not allowing her to go out to parties and stuff too often, so she'd find herself skipping class to hang out with friends. But we were able to find a video of Cardi from her talent show back in 2010. Here you can see a young Cardi rocking the stage with backup dancers. Cardi's mom would kick her out of the house a few weeks before her 18th birthday, which would force her to start working at Amish Market, a deli where she would make $200 a week. Now at 18 years old, Cardi would decide to go to college and enroll herself at the Borough of Manhattan Community College, studying political science, but dropped out before earning a degree. Between her job and the courses, it seemed too much for Cardi at the time, whose main focus, as it still is, was making money and hustling. Cardi would eventually get fired after showing up late and giving her friends too many discounts at the deli, and that's when her stripping career started. In an interview with Dazed Digital, Cardi said, I quote, "I was crying hysterically, like I need a job, how am I going to make money? The manager told me to go across the street to the strip club and dance, saying I'd make so much money and had a nice body. And ever since then, I was dancing. Tuesday to Sunday, every day up until last year. The interview with Dazed was dated in September of 2016, but in other interviews, Cardi claims to have worked stripping for 7 days straight at some points. But she didn't mind because it changed her life.
I don't recommend it. I don't tell girls to go do it.
Yeah.
But it's just like I'm not even gonna front. It really saved me.
Now, it seems like Cardi always had a place in the performance world. Between her looks and her personality, people loved Cardi and still do. As she would entertain those in a strip club over time, she would also build quite the following online and in the strip club circuit. This would help Cardi's financial situation, which would also help her leave an abusive boyfriend who she would sleep on a bug-infested bed with. But according to her mom, she was making her money babysitting for rich white people.
I told my parents that I was babysitting some really rich white folks' kids.
And when her mom found out the truth, well, there have been reports that Cardi's mom actually threw her or kicked her down a staircase, but it turns out it was just a push that caused Cardi to trip and eventually fall downstairs. Cardi would also begin uploading videos to Vine and Instagram where she would see some success by growing a following, and with the help of a shout out from Bobby Shmurda, and posting videos of, well, just her being her.
Hi there, my name is Cardi B, and I am here to talk to you about how you can suck my
Cardi would continue to grow her online brand, and eventually she'd have a big enough following that she'd stop stripping altogether and she would just MC or host evenings at different strip clubs. Over time, her following would keep getting bigger and bigger, and Cardi would finally get her big break, or so she thought. Cardi would be cast on Love and Hip Hop, New York, have a small role, but she would definitely leave a big impact and an everlasting impression.
My name is Cardi B. You might know me as that annoying dancer on social media that be talking hella crazy with the long nails and the big old titties. But I'm just a regular, schmegular girl from the Bronx.
Although it didn't turn Cardi into the megastar she thought it would, it was definitely the start of the Cardi B we know now. With influences ranging from the likes of Missy Elliott and Lauryn Hill to Madonna and Lady Gaga, Cardi had decided it was her turn to take a shot at the music industry. She has also credited Puerto Rican rapper Ivy Queen and Jamaican dancehall artist Spice as influences as well. Her musical debut was made in November of 2015, being featured on a remix of reggae singer Shaggy's Boom Boom alongside Popcan. You guys remember Shaggy, right? That song, It Wasn't Me? That was my jam. Saw me banging on the sofa? Wasn't me. She even caught me in the shower? Wasn't me.
Stop it!
Cardi would make her music video debut on the song Cheap Ass Weave, which was Cardi's remix of the song Queen's Speech 4 by Lady LeSure. Now, it wouldn't be long before Cardi would release her first mixtape, Gangsta Bitch Music Volume 1, which would be released on March 7th, 2016. In November of the same year, she would be featured on the digital cover of Vibe magazine's Viva issue, and on January 20th, 2017, Cardi would drop a sequel to her mixtape series, Gangsta Bitch Music Volume 2. Just a month later, Cardi would partner up with MAC Cosmetics and Rio Eurobe's Gypsy Sport during New York Fashion Week. And just a few weeks later, Cardi would sign her first major record deal with Atlantic Records. Yow. Alright, enough of that. In May of 2017, Cardi would be nominated at the 2017 BET Awards, where Cardi would be nominated for Best New Artist and Best Female Hip Hop Artist, but she would lose out to Chance the Rapper and Remy Ma respectively. That being said, the achievement of even being nominated was enough for Cardi to be invited to perform on stage during Hot 97 Summer Jam Festival, alongside Remy Ma, the Lady of Rage, MC Lyte, Young Ma, Monty Love, Lil Kim, and Queen Latifah. And on June 16th, 2017, Atlantic would release Cardi's commercial debut and smash hit, Bodak Yellow.
I don't dance now, I make money moves. Hey, I don't gotta dance, I make money moves. If I see you and I don't think I don't ever.
Now, I never heard that version before, and I just thought it was too funny not to include in this video, but good job to Miley for smashing that. In August of the same year, Bodak Yellow would reach the #2 spot of the US Billboard Hot 100s and #1 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart. Cardi would eventually hit the #1 spot on the Hot 100 chart on September 25th, 2017, becoming the first solo female rapper to do so since Lauryn Hill. Bodak Yellow would eventually be certified quintuple platinum, meaning 5 times, and that's a word I've never said before, so I probably said it wrong. But Cardi would continue to dominate the charts after collaborations with G-Eazy on No Limit and the Migos Motorsport. She became the first female artist and female rapper to have her first 3 entries on the Billboard and Hot R&B and Hip Hop charts in the top 10.
Oh my God!
Cardi would go on to collaborate with Bruno Mars on the remix of his hit song Finesse, which would eventually also peak on the charts for weeks, and as many of you guys know, eventually marry one of the 3 Migos, Offset, who would propose to her in front of thousands of people live on stage during the Power 99 Powerhouse concert in Philly. Gotta give a shout out to Philadelphia, the Eagles. My dad's from Philly, so I'm a big Eagles fan. If you guys are an Eagles fan, let me know in the comments down below, and if you're a Cowboys fan, then I hate you. The two would eventually give birth to their daughter Culture, who you can see makes regular appearances on Cardi's Instagram page. Cardi and Nicki Minaj would also have beef throughout the years, but it seems like it might have finally come to an end. Not really. I mean, until they make a song together, I don't think this beef will ever actually end. But this is before they were famous, so we're not going to get too much into their drama. If you guys want to hear about the history of the Minaj-Cardi beef, let us know in the comments down below. We can make a video on that too. And as previously mentioned, Cardi would trademark her "okrr" in March of 2019 because, well, what a smart move. I mean, it's her own language and she's got to make more money off it. The girl's making money moves. But you guys know the rest of the story because this is before they were famous. Now, before I wrap this video up, I do have to answer the trivia question. Who did Cardi B get her first endorsement deal from? Well, it's actually a store in New York called Romantic Depot, as you guys can see right here.
Hey there, y'all. This is your wild friend Cardi B, and I want to talk about the largest store in the history of New York. You name it, Romantic Depot has it all.
Visit the grand opening of our lingerie superstore.
My name is Bronstein. If you guys haven't subscribed to our channel, be sure to do that right now. Turn on all of our post notifications so you guys could always be up to date on all of our newest videos. You got to check out some of our other videos that we have here for you guys. You can find me on social media at Bron7, and I'll see you guys in another video.